If you're watching this video right now, I'm actually down in Orlando, Florida at the GCX event, and I'm going to be hanging out with some fellow Destiny 2 creators. And while I'm gone, I figured I'd put out a video for you guys. Now, I've wanted to talk about this for a little bit, but if you haven't either picked up the Graviton Lance or you just haven't taken it out of your vault in a while, this thing got a pretty significant buff, and it's easily one of the best exotic primaries to have right now. This thing was already good to begin with, but let's go over what it does exactly. So it does come with a couple ornaments here. We have the base one, we have this white one, we have the one I'm using right now, which I really like this one, especially the right there. And then there's also this one as well, kind of similar, a little more, you know, rustic, I should say. But in any event, let's go over the perks. Intrinsic trait, Black Hole. Second shot of the burst rips a hole through space-time, doing high damage and recoil with no falloff. This is a 2-burst pulse rifle, so keep that in mind. It actually has the same fire rate as Revision 0 now, so similar to that. Its other perks, we do have Hammer Forge rifling and accurized rounds for increased range. We have Fitted Stock for increased stability, moderately controls the recoil and slightly decreases handling speed. And then Cosmology, kills with the weapon cause enemy targets to detonate and spawn void projectiles that attract targets, essentially like mini Axion darts on a kill, so that's disgusting. And if you have the Catalyst and finish it out, you do get Vorpal Weapon, so you will be able to do more damage to bosses, vehicles, and guardians with their super active. And then it also has another perk called Turnabout. Using this weapon to break the shield of a combatant or a guardian using their super will grant you an overshield. So pretty much free overshield if you break a shield with this weapon. If you thought all that sounded great, this thing actually got a buff a few updates ago where it increases the PvE damage by 67%. Now note that it did remove the extra aim assist provided by the Catalyst, which isn't a big deal, and reduces the damage dealt to players by the Cosmology explosion by 40%. That's mostly for, you know, PvP, you know, the PvP side of Gambit. The damage in PvE is unchanged. So ultimately, this thing gets a 67% damage buff in general. You know, at the beginning of the season, a lot of people were using Graviton Lance for PvP because of all the changes. It made it really good in the Crucible, but then that side of it got nerfed in the middle of the season. But now with this buff to the PvE side of things, and honestly with all the perks on this allowing for really good ad control, bonus damage, and an overshield with, you know, solid stats across the board, this is one of the PvE exotic primary weapons that I highly recommend you get, because there's only a few exotic primaries that perform extremely well in PvE. Most of the time people opt for an exotic special or an exotic heavy weapon. Having exotic primaries that come with unique perks that are really good in PvE, especially high-end PvE, is definitely something to look for. Now that we got the info and my thoughts out of the way, let's talk about some things that can actually be a real improvement to this gun in regards to anything from easy PvE activities to high-end that will allow you to stun champions. Now on a basic level for armor mods, some things you're going to want to look out for is Void Siphon. Again, rapid Void Weapon Final Blows will create an orb of power. Again, that gives you benefits to stuff on the subclass, you know, on your armor. Again, armor charges as well. There's plenty of benefits with this, and since the weapon can kill ads pretty easily, you're going to create a lot of orbs. On the gauntlets for PvE, the only main thing to note is maybe Void Loader. Again, this is going to increase your reload speed for void weapons. I honestly think the reload speed on the Pulse is fine, so this isn't absolutely needed, but if you wanted it, you can put it on. On the boots, the one big one you're going to want to look out for is Void Weapon Surge. Again, your Void Weapons gain a small bonus to damage while you have any armor charge. Your armor charge now decays over time. Essentially, when you collect an Orb of Power, it gives you an armor charge. Base-wise, you can have 3 with any of these blue mods. Each one lasts 10 seconds. So if you have 3 armor charges, that means you get 30 seconds of bonus damage if you don't pick up another Orb of Power of Void Weapon damage. So it's absolutely disgusting. Now, there is a way to gain armor charges through, you know, elemental pickups, you know, Fire Sprite, Sonic Traces, Stasis Shards, Void Breaches, and Destroying Strand Tangles. Again, it's an escalating chance with this elemental charge, but again, Void Weapon Surge is the big one for here. Now, in regards to classes in the Void subclass, obviously each class has, you know, solid setup for Void builds. Obviously on the Warlock, you have Nezarec Sin, you have Controverse Hold. On the Titan, you have the Stellar Heart of Inmost Light build, which I have a build for that here on the channel. And on the Hunter, you have Gear Falcon's Halberd, which I will talk about Gear Falcons, but the main thing with Graviton Lance, it is a pulse rifle. Yes, sometimes, depending on the season, we do get anti-barrier pulse or, you know, unstoppable pulse. We do have artifact mods that revolve around the pulse rifle. And I mean, even this season, we have authorized mods Void for, you know, Void weapons. This is a Void weapon. So there are certain things on the artifact that can help us out. But again, if you're able to gain volatile rounds, you will be able to stun anti-barrier champions. And obviously on the Warlock and the Titan, outside of maybe a specific artifact perk, the only other way to gain volatile rounds is through the Void Fragment called Echo of Instability. Again, defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your Void weapons. It is a +10 to strength, but essentially It procs the volatile debuff, which allows for really good ad clear in general. And honestly, volatile rounds is just a fantastic thing to have on the Void subclass. So I almost always recommend this fragment in regards to a Void build. But the one cool thing with the Hunter in general is that we don't need this one. We don't need it because Gear Falcons, whenever you come out of invisibility, you gain those volatile rounds. Plus, on top of that, when you are invisible and defeat a combatant with a finisher, all your weapons gain bonus damage, you and nearby allies gain a reserve overshield and improved class ability regeneration. These reserve overshields can be deployed by using a class ability. So again, there is a team aspect with the Gear Falcons halberd. All in all, like I said, number one, if you don't have the Graviton Lance, definitely get this thing and get the Catalyst. It is 100% worth its exotic slot compared to a lot of other exotics, especially exotic primaries. And the second one, if you haven't pulled this thing out of the vault in a while, definitely give it a test yourself. I personally love it a lot, and at the end of the day, in regards to exotic primaries, there really is only a few that people would use in PvE activities, and I just feel like Graviton, with all the perks and all the bonuses that you get, especially with the Catalyst and this increase to damage by 67%, it has automatically hopped to the top of my list of exotic primary weapons to use. If you want any Void builds to go with the Graviton Lance, I have dropped a Gear Falcons perfected build for this season, especially with all the artifact perks that we get for the Void subclass, on top of a Heart of Inmost Light build and a second chance build for the Titan. So those are Void builds as well. If you want to check those out and pair this with the Graviton Lance, I think you'll have a great time. If you like what you saw, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then turn the bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on another video here on the channel. If you didn't know, we actually stream live here on the YouTube channel and Kick. Again, I'm trying to get my stream schedule down, trying to figure some stuff out. Obviously, the new season's coming up in about a month as the time of recording for this video, and I'm also trying to cover some Destiny 2 news here as well, get back into that. So if you want to be updated with when I'm going live or my other content and whatnot, be sure to follow me on Twitter at ItsDaveTV, and then also be sure to join my Discord. Again, that's where we're going to meet up to, do Destiny 2 activities, whether it's raids, dungeons, GMs, just hanging out, whatever it is. Again, we also have other stuff in there like other games, PC tech, anime, and more. And lastly, if you want to support the channel even more, you can look into becoming a member. If you don't know what a membership is, it is essentially like a Twitch subscription. Again, it's just another way to support me here on the channel so I can continue making this content for you guys. You'll get access to the monthly badges, the emotes, and other cool stuff here on the channel. So if you want to check that out, all you have to do is press the join button, next subscribe, and that will give you a rundown with all the details you need. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been your boy. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.